Kempire is brought to you by. Do you know how important it is to rate and review a podcast? Rate and review the Kempire podcast today. 5 stars. Let us know what you love about the podcast. Rate and review the Kempire podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Did you know that you can watch the Kempire channel on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter? Follow us on all of our platforms. More information on our YouTube, our Blue Sky, our Twitter, aka X, and more socials, and every way that you can support us will be available in the episode notes. You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. This is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Potomac. And of course, in celebration of Black History Month and Black content creators, we had to bring the dream team back together. Look, we were going to do it regardless, Black History Month or not. We have to talk about so much that's been going on when it comes to Porsha and Simon of it all. We have to talk about Karen and her sentencing this week. And we have to talk about the part 2 of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. So, of course, we brought over Lailah Lynn. Hey, Lailah.
Hey, what's up, Kempire? What's up, Grace?
And, of course, Grace Report. What's going on, Grace Report?
Hey, guys. I'm doing great. How are you? The sun is shining again.
Oh, my God. I don't know about over there in Paris, but we're getting some good weather, at least for the next couple of days here in New York. I'm so excited about that, but I don't want to get used to it because it's not supposed to yet.
Right. Don't you hate when the plants start to bloom and then they die when it gets cold again?
Oh, poor plants. They got confused.
Yeah.
Lord. Guys, so before we get into anything, I did want to take a moment to say rest in peace to Roberta Flack. The news came out just a moment ago that the legendary singer and songwriter has passed away at the age of 88 years old. So rest in peace to her. You know, some of our legendary songs like Killing Me Softly with His Song, et cetera, et cetera. So may she rest in peace. You know what I always say when we report on deaths, that it's a reminder to us that are still here and living to live more fully. Okay. All right. Shout out to everyone in the live chat. We appreciate you guys being here. Ladies, where do we begin? Lailah, I know you've been covering the story this weekend in regards to Simon Gobadia getting arrested and detained by ICE. There are a lot of people speculating. I don't believe that, because if you look at Simon's rap sheet over the last 40 years, and I'm not even being facetious when I say 40 years.
Right.
No,
Here you go with the truth.
40 years of just playing in immigration's face. So he was arrested and detained by ICE this weekend. People are speculating that Porsha is the one that called him into ICE. But you did a fabulous video on your channel. And first of all, congratulations on 400,000 subscribers.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Of course. What are your thoughts on Simon Gobadia being detained by ICE?
Well, you know, I guess it's about time. It's like 20 years later. Like, you know, Simon has 2 identities. You know what I mean? And so he should have been out this country. Like, if you want a legal perspective on it, like, he should have been out this country because one of his identities was deported like in the 80s. You know what I mean? And so his other identity.
Is that Eeyore?
Yeah, Eeyore. Eeyore is his real name. In 2022, he kind of consolidated his identities. He has Simon, he has Eeyore. 2022, he did a name change to change his name to Simon Eeyore Gubadia. And he put it was for religious reasons, you know, the whole Simon thing. And so, yeah, he should have never been here. Like, since the 90s, he wasn't here legally. His permanent residency was not legal. And I was saying in my video, I feel like in our old administration, they were letting it go. And so Simon was playing in their face. But I feel like our new administration, I'm not a fan of them at all. But I do feel like our new administration, when it comes to immigration, they're on the offense, not just the defense, they're on the offense. So someone like Simon suing INS, USCIS, him suing them, he put himself on their radar. Like, Porsha didn't have to call the people on him. Phaedra, everybody thinks Phaedra. They think it was freaking Frack, and Porsha got Phaedra to call the people on him. But Simon, he brought it on himself. You know what I mean? Because he sued them. He sued immigration. And so he put himself on their radar. And then in their divorce, he is the one that wanted to show up in person. Like, Porsha is trying to do everything via Zoom. But he was like, no, I'm here. I want to do things in person. And now they know he's here and they got him.
I mean, And if they didn't, and if it's not alleged, we got the actual whatever that dashboard that they have for tracking things like that. But here's the thing: even if they didn't get him the other day, they would have gotten him if they showed up to court.
Right. But I don't want to be crass, but I feel like the balls are so big. Like that's the best way I can explain it. When it comes to Simon, like the audacity is out of control. And so it's his own fault. It's his own fault, if you ask me. Like
Yeah,
who sues INS? Who sues INS?
and he's been playing in everyone's face on social media, swearing he's won this, he's won that. And look, I'm not a huge fan of Porsha, but this man, like you said, has been playing in all of our faces and in the administration's faces since the 80s. He's been arrested for bank and credit card fraud. Not only has he been deported, like he's also a scammer.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Grace,
I completely agree with you guys. It was too much. He got a little bit too arrogant. And in fact, I was just talking about this on, my channel earlier today that I think Annie called ICE. He was like, oh my God, he keeps trying to sue me. He's messing with my money. I'm calling ICE on him. So I'm throwing that out there.
It really could be anyone. They should do a whole movie. Who could have done it? Who done it?
Right.
Oh my God. A mess. He's a risk. I don't think that someone who is there illegally and who has a criminal history should be able to stay. So, if they're actually going to full-blown deport him, then good riddance is what I say.
Yeah. And my thing is, if you look at his track record, it's like the worst of the worst. Like they should have gotten him a long time ago. Look,
and his legal defense, and when he sued, immigration, his legal defense was, well, the fact that y'all didn't catch me then is not on me. The burden is not on me. That's y'all's fault. That was literally his legal defense, that he shouldn't carry the burden of immigration not clearing things up, years ago.
Who is his attorney? Is he representing himself?
Hey, that's the sad part about it. He's not.
Oh. Well, we see when it comes to the whole Karen Huger of it all, that she had attorneys that listened to what she had to say. So let's talk about Karen Huger right now. Karen Huger, it came out in the Washington Post that the prosecution, first of all, is seeking 6 months of jail time. She was facing up to 2 years, but they're only seeking 6 months. What we found out from the prosecution, a couple of things, that this is literally her 4th DUI. We've talked about that, but they're confirming that this is Karen Huger's 4th DUI. They also confirmed that they don't believe the rehab facility that she went to was an actual rehab facility. They said it was more like a luxury resort. I'm not surprised by that. Karen has been playing in our faces. Lailah, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I remember when I was reporting that particular weekend, I was doing 2 stories regarding DUIs. It was her and Leandria Johnson. And Leandria Johnson had spent some time in jail. And I was like, it's only fair. People go to jail for DUIs, especially if it's like their second offense onward, like they go to jail for it. And so when I was reviewing the footage of Karen, which I feel like we're going to get deeper into the footage, regarding her, if she was with someone, But I felt like, okay, Karen is not special. I know she thinks she's George Jefferson's concubine or what have you, but she is not special and she thinks she is. And so that has to be clarified for her. She has to understand that she's not special. She can't get away with drinking and driving. And my thing, dealing with like alcoholics and things like that, if you want to be an alcoholic, fine. If you have a predisposition to alcoholism, fine. But when you get behind the wheel of a car, you bring other people into your mess. And that's what I take issue with. And that's why I think she should go to jail, just like other people. Like I was saying, Leandria Johnson, other women too, go to jail for DUIs. So yes, she should go to jail. Clink, clink. Yeah. And when it comes to the 6 months, and they make you take your wig off in jail. So yes, take the wig off, go to jail, talk to the women, and get a reality check. Even with it being 6 months, I feel like at the most she'll do a week. Because even when they, say it needs to be 6 months, they don't do the whole time. So if it's a week or 2 or what have you, yes. Yeah.
Ooh. Grace, what is your reaction to all of this new information that came out over the weekend in regards to Karen Huger?
So I do believe that it was not a rehab and that it was just some kind of luxury vacation spot, because she even said on part 1 of the reunion that she's not an alcoholic. So if she's not an alcoholic, what would she be doing in a real rehab? So I do see that being a thing. And I too think that she should go to jail. And like Lailah says, it most likely won't be the 6 month, although I think it should be. But I feel like a minimum of 30 days just because of what she said in the body cam footage, like, so brazenly, like, oh, they'll probably give me like 30 days. All right, let's give you the 30 days and see how cocky you are, basically.
Yeah. I just find it so shocking to me that the prosecution is only seeking the 6 months because I don't even think that's enough, especially this being her 4th DUI.
Yeah.
Or she could have killed someone in between those times. They're saying that the first 3 happened between 2006 and 2011. I don't understand. And I don't know if it all happened in Maryland, because I know from what I've heard from multiple people is that Maryland is very serious about drinking and driving. So I can't imagine that happened there and she did not get jail time then. And the fact she still has a license.
Yeah. It was probably Virginia.
Okay.
It was probably Virginia. Yeah. But what do y'all think? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, wait.
Well, I feel like we're going to get to it when Ashley was like, she heard that there was somebody else, that Karen actually wasn't driving, that it was Blue Eyes or somebody driving, and that they tiptoed away. What do y'all think about that?
I did a whole video because someone called in and pointed out some of the language that Karen was using during her arrest. And there might have been clues because she talks about, security was here and that but again, she's drunk. So it's hard to take what she's saying seriously. And if there was someone else there, why have we taken it this far? That now you're going to go to jail for Blue Eyes?
That's crazy. Especially knowing.
You're going to go to jail for Blue Eyes. That is some deep love.
That's crazy on her end, but that's not love on his end. A man that would let you go to jail for him does not love you, because I feel like a man's instinct in a relationship with a woman, typically, it should be to protect, right? And so the fact that he would let her take this charge, if it's the case, right, knowing that she's got prior issues, is insane. And I feel like that's also why, she should get more jail time, right? She's bragging about being this rich woman. She's got security. She's got a driver, yet somehow she's racked up multiple DUIs. It's just, it doesn't add up. It's very weird. It's very disrespectful.
Would you guys take a DUI for your man?
No, not even for Would you?
I think my man don't even drink.
No, because first of all, very like what Lailah said, I don't even drink. So why would I be in here taking Can you imagine you hear Kempire got arrested for a DUI? We're like, wait a minute. I don't drink. Because then all of a sudden, now I'm Mia. I thought he didn't drink. So it wasn't me. Or I've been set up. Okay? I've been set up.
Yeah.
So in regards to this, I don't know if I believe that 6 months is enough. I was just talking about this last night, that I feel like even if she does get jail time, I don't think Karen Huger learned her lesson. I think she needs to be punished at the network level, because I think that's the only thing that's going to get through to her. Because I don't believe that she really feels like she has a problem. I think she's doing what she needs to do, rightfully so, in order to get lesser time. But I don't know if I believe that's going to be enough. What do you think, Lailah?
Oh, I mean, jail is my worst nightmare. I have to be honest with you. Like, I think about jail almost on like a daily basis.
What?
I do. I don't want to get into why, but
Nobody wants to go to jail. Nobody wants to go to jail.
Right. You can't do anything, but 6 months I think would be appropriate. She has to see the bars or the door close on her to get it. Like her ego is out of control, and she doesn't get that she is just like everyone else. And like I was saying, other people I report on regarding DUIs, they go to jail. Yeah. And Karen is no different. I know she's an older woman, but I mean, she still could have killed someone. So she needs to go to jail.
And she wasn't thinking about those things. Mind you, she knows her record in regards to the past DUI. She knew about this video footage, and I don't think she thought that the world would end up seeing it.
Mm-hmm. But when you're drunk, do you remember exactly? I don't know if she remembered that it was that bad because she was drunk. You know what I mean?
They show you the video footage before they present it. Her legal for this video footage before they go to court. She knew that's why they were trying to get it thrown out. Grace, what are your thoughts in regard to Karen getting jail time? Do you want to go to look, do you worry about going to jail like Lailah?
You know what? It's funny. I do, but like not on a daily basis. It's definitely something where you're like, oh my God, if like jail wasn't a factor, I would have done that, that sort of a thing. In certain instances, when people piss you off, you're like, oh man, I would love to whoop you, like something like that. But you know what? I'm still so horrified by it all. And you guys are going to be surprised. I think this is the first time I'm telling you guys, but I am no longer a la dame, guys. And y'all know how much I root for Karen. Yeah. Yeah, guys. I cannot.
A few weeks ago when you came on the channel.
I know. But, something about part one of the reunion just did it for me. It was the way that she treated Wendy. She's thanking everybody for all of their help and support. And we saw Jazelle shade her left, right, and center all season. She watched it too. And she still chose to thank everybody but Wendy, That just disgusted me so much. And I know how much like the group likes to talk about certain things and it can be really controversial, RHOP, and I've always tried to stay out. But then I went, could she be the undercover, in the group? Because it felt like that to me for the first time. Yeah.
Yes.
First time.
That's someone alone.
Yeah. Shout out to Trent King. I remember a couple seasons ago when we were doing our lives, and Trent King, I remember him commenting that it was Karen. Like, we're looking at Jazelle, the Green Eye Bandits, but I remember him saying Karen is getting away with it, but Karen is colorist. And like now, I don't know what's going on, but I do see what you're saying regarding her treatment of Jazelle versus Wendy. Is it color or is it? It could be something else. But yeah, that's what people are saying, that it's really Karen.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it could be, but I have to say it was very disheartening to see that video. Because literally, if you pay attention to Dr. Wendy Acefo's face as Karen shows up, she's like all smiles, and it's literal. I think that she is expecting that Karen's going to say thank you to her first, and she says Jazelle, and then at the end, there's this little spark of hope, and a special thank you. Camera on Dr. Wendy, Andy Cohen. I felt so bad for Wendy because no matter what they've gone through, I felt like Dr. Wendy, especially this season, was ride or die for Karen. And I didn't see anything wrong with that. She was like, let's wait and see how this all plays out in regards to her DUI, because we didn't. None of us knew what happened, and I can understand it. That's your friend. You're holding out hope, especially if your friend is telling you, "I'm going to be vindicated."
Yeah.
Yeah. You believe them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she brought her to the White House, guys. Like, she did everything.
Regretted it. She regretted that. Would you regret it?
Absolutely.
Because it's giving Karen. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Greg.
You know what? It's just, I don't know if you guys have ever had something like that happen in your lives with friendships where you give so much to a friendship, so much. And then something just shows you, wait a minute, like this is a one-way friendship or something. Like to me, that reminded me of that. So I felt so bad for Wendy because it reminded me of something that happened like in my own life recently where, maybe it's because it's so recent to me, but I was like, oh, I think, did I not tell you about this already, KP? I feel like I did. It's a long story.
From you that I don't know. Go ahead.
No, I'm always going on. I'm the worst person to have on like WhatsApp, you guys, because I will send you like podcasts, like 1 million words a day. Poor Kempire. Yeah, I had this situation with a friend I had known since like freshman year in college, like uni, like last year high school. We had been such good friends. Like she always had these issues, and I'd be helping her out, like financially or this or that. And then she was supposed to come visit me in Paris. She was supposed to come visit me in Paris, right? And she never did. Then suddenly one time she shows up. I thought she wanted to hang out, but she comes here and she tells me she's like dating this guy. So it's like she only came for this guy. And she was supposed to stay at my place with me, but then she decides to stay at his place. And then something happens where she has to leave one day. And so she asked me last minute to come here. I said, yeah, of course. Then we're supposed to go out to this thing, like to like a boat party, like Rosa Bonheur that we have here that's really, really popular. And it's gay Kempire. It's the best. It's the best. Yeah. And so we're supposed to go at this time. And so she and the boy, they went earlier than I did, right? Like ahead of the scheduled time. And when I got there was a long line. They were already in. And security wouldn't let me in. They said I had to wait in the line. And it was dark out and I was alone. And so she comes out. She's like, oh, c'est dommage. Like, that's too bad. I was like, what do you mean it's too bad? It was devastating. It was devastating, you guys. So this reminds me of that, where you pour so much into a friendship and then someone just like shocks you with something like that. Like, yeah.
Never your friend. They were never your friend. That's terrible. That is really, really terrible. Guys, you're just joining us. We have our friends Lailah Lynn and Grace Report here visiting us to talk about the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac. We already talked a little bit about Simon Gobadia being detained by ICE. We also talked about Karen Huger. Her sentencing is this Wednesday. She's facing at least 6 months in jail. So we shall see how that turns out. Make sure you're following our guests. All their information and everything that they've got going on will be available in the description. Ladies, let's get into this episode because I do want to kind of call back to part 1 and part 2 because I think both are important and you both weren't here for us to talk about part 1. So, okay. First of all, Lailah, what did you think of part 1 of the Potomac reunion?
I enjoyed it. I love the picture of Karen. I kind of did want them to put it on like the little nightstand that was beside Andy, but then it was also giving rest in peace at the same time. I was like, I don't know. But I enjoyed it even without Karen being there. I enjoyed it.
Grace?
Mm-hmm. Same here. I lost my breath. They gagged me on a couple of occasions. When Jazelle did the whole, is Stacy educated? Gagged. I was like, where did that come from? And then Stacy with her own Spacey Stacy, that shocked me too. It was part 1 was way better than part 2 for me. I was like, wow.
Really?
I loved it. Yeah.
Lailah, what did you think? Part 1 versus part 2, which was better?
I would agree. The whole listen, Stacy is not my favorite at this point. I feel like Stacy is a liar. I feel like she tells so many lies. But yeah, I did enjoy part 1 better. And I can say that because part 2, I was kind of like distracted. Like I had to watch it twice to kind of like pick it up. So that tells me I did enjoy part 1. I watched that straight through. But what do y'all think about that Spacey Stacy? Do y'all think she's really releasing a line of cannabis?
I believe anything anyone tells me about Stacy at this particular point because she has been found to be a liar, pants on fire, and she just unfollowed me. I don't care, Stacy.
I love that. Stacy unfollowed you. I love that. I love that. I don't think she ever followed me.
Look, she hit me up before I came down to DC. She was like, I hear you're coming down to DC. I'd love to meet you. And I was like, girl, come on down to the show because we're not meeting one-on-one. I don't know you like that. I know what y'all trying to do. Come on down to the show, girl. So no one knew that she was coming. And I have to say, she was lovely in person. But that, she's on stage. We're interviewing. I don't know how she's in real life. I wouldn't turn my back on her. It's based off of what we found out. But basically, I feel like in part 1, we find out some inconsistencies with Stacy. Part 2, we find out more inconsistencies with Stacy. And part 3, we find out that she's been paying TJ, allegedly. That's the tea that I spilled.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. She's scary. And I'm so saddened by it. Like, she seemed like so nice, so sweet, but everything we're finding out about her is like, and I saw Oriel's comment there, like that she's low-key psycho. I believe that, especially with not only the TJ thing, because that was already obvious, but the Stacy thing, right? And then now, the Vivian of it all, right? Where she purposely wanted a dress that Ashley had. And then she went and got it for herself. And then she throws Vivian under the bus saying, she's dead to me. F that B. She did it to sabotage me. Like, that is scary behavior. Like, really scary.
Yes, I feel the same way.
And Vivian spoke out this week in regards to Stacy and the gowns and uplifting, elevating Stacy and then, elevating Vivian. And she says that Stacy, you returned all the gowns smelling funky. Funky.
Right. You should dry clean it, like common courtesy, right? All these girls, they were wearing it, sweating in it, which is natural. Then the dogs are pooping, the aroma in the air, maybe the dress trailed on it or something. Dry clean it.
I feel like as if, in part 2 of this Potomac reunion, I feel as if the Stacy that we think we know is not the Stacy that we know. And I love for Dr. Wendy, the fact that she's pointing out everybody. Like, she is the bone carrier this season and at this reunion. And she talks about, like, you told me to F that B in regards to Vivian. Lailah, what did you think about the whole saga between Vivian and Stacy? And mind you, they were friends.
Yes. Well, this is the thing. We just talked about that, Grace. When you think someone is your friend and then you realize they are just using you. And I feel like Stacy is a user. And that's why it's scary. Like you were saying, it's scary when you realize someone's lies. Because it's like, okay, they're lying for a reason. Most of the time when people lie, it's for a reason and it's to manipulate you. So I do feel like Stacy is a manipulator. And I have to say, the whole thing about the dress, I didn't love the dress on Stacy. But when I saw it on Ashley, I was like, okay, it looks cute on Ashley. Like Ashley kind of gave the dress life. She gave it a certain life that Stacy didn't give it. And the fact that Stacy wanted to wear the same dress as Ashley, I believe Vivian. That Stacy specifically asked for that dress. And I think she thought she was going to wear it better. I think she's trying to get one up on Ashley. So I do feel like Stacy is somebody to watch. I feel like she's competing with Ashley and maybe some other girls on the show, and she's somebody to watch because she's not who she portrays herself to be at all.
Especially with the Jazelle dress, right? She says, I want Ashley's dress. Yeah. Jazelle looks good in this. Jazelle likes this. She can't wear it. Like,
who does that for a dog show? Like, who does? I can see if it's your wedding. On your wedding, you want to be the most formal. You want to look the best. But it's a dog show. Like, it's a charity dog show. So who says, this is so foreign to me, that concept of, oh, I don't want her to look better than me at a dog show.
At a charity event.
Yeah.
Right.
The charity event, you should want everyone to look great.
Yeah. Grace, can I ask you this? Did you like the dress? Either dress. Right now, ask you two, did y'all like either dress?
What do you mean? The Ashley dress or the Jazelle dress?
Both. And I'll ask the people in the comments too.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the dresses like,
is that it?
So,
yeah. They were cute. I felt like you that Ashley wore that dress better. And I think it mainly comes down to the hair. Like the hair Stacy had was distracting. It was black and like copper blonde. And the dress is like white and black and green. Just too much going on color-wise. And then the Jazelle dress was cute. It looked like something you can find like at a store. So like, listen, I like Vivian, you guys. I do like her, right? And I think she's talented. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that Jazelle went back to Vivian's store, bought the dress, wore the dress to the event, and then gave the dress to Dr. Wendy Asepo. That's
I love that.
Housewives. That's so housewives. I appreciate it.
I want to see Wendy wear it. I want to see Wendy wear the dress, like even on social media, whatever. Yeah,
she needs to do that. She needs to do that because she revealed that in part 2 that Jazelle gave it to her. All right. Yeah. So at the top of this reunion, though, Mia be lying. So at the end of part 1, Mia went to Stacy's room because that whole let me ask you about the Miami story, because we didn't even see that coming in regards to the Miami story. Because Stacy's like, oh, are we talking about Miami? So Mia apparently invited Jazzy and Stacy to celebrate her birthday in Miami, only for them to be ghosted by Mia. And Mia, at the end of the reunion last week, went to Stacy to apologize. She was tearful about it. Okay, Grace, what did you think about that whole Miami story? Because we didn't see that coming because that wasn't filmed.
That was absolutely insane. And the fact that like Mia didn't care at first, right? She's like, now what? So what? Kind of a thing. And then when she realized that she was supposed to feel bad, because I think like there's a missing switch for her, like there might be some sort of antisocialness going on in there. And so at first she thought it was just whatever, not a big deal. But she realized, oh, it is supposed to be a big deal. So she turns on the waterworks and all of this. Like, it was so rude to do that to her friends, and to pretend that she didn't know they were coming. Meanwhile, they texted to her directly. Then all of a sudden she's got a point of contact. Like, I don't know why she would do that. I'm confused.
I said the parole officer.
Person of color.
Person of color. Like, POC. Okay, point of contact. Fine. Lailah, what did you think of the Miami story?
Oh, I thought it was awful. First of all, I didn't understand why Stacy took to Mia like that at first. Now I understand it now because they say, water seeks its level. So a liar is going to seek another liar. So now I understand why Stacy took to Mia. But at first I didn't understand it. But I feel like, Mia showed Stacy like I am not a good friend. And she even told her point blank, I'm not in a position to be a good friend right now. And I feel like it's something to what Jacqueline said when they said Jacqueline said Mia is just concerned about ink. She wasn't reading text. She wasn't responding to text because she's only concerned about ink right now. I believe that.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Stacy, that was your karma. You came up on this show lying from the beginning. You're still lying. That was your karma. You went all the way to Miami to get out-lied by someone else. So there you go. Your karma.
Out-lied. Kempire, how did you find out she unfollowed you? And why would she unfollow you? If she sought you out, she came to your show, why go from that to unfollowing you? I'm curious about.
Because I dropped the tea as to what we can expect in part 3. She probably did not, because I didn't expect everyone to gravitate to it. You even told me it was on the Reddit streets. So
well, that's the thing, because I didn't know you dropped it. I thought that the Reddit people dropped it. Someone that went to your show was like, first of all, it's a great show, and it is. And then this came out there. So I was shocked. I didn't know you did.
Well, here's the thing. I got that information from very reliable sources in regards to what plays out the reunion, but no one's surprised about that tea. So, and look, and we still have yet to see what is revealed at this reunion. Look, we'll see if my source is sourcing, but I believe that's the reason why she decided to unfollow me, because she was caught out there in a lie, and I'm okay with that. How did it? Oh, I went to her page because I wanted to I needed a picture for the thumbnail. That's how I realized that she was me. I'm okay with it, because I know people think that, we'll Kempire. No, I'm fine. She followed me first. I was like, and after I met her, I followed her back, because I'm big on, I met you, I like you, I'm going to follow you. I'm not going to just follow you because, I like you on a show. I met her and I'm like, I actually kind of like Stacy. Only to find out she's a liar, pants on fire.
Anybody I follow is for tea. If you're a celebrity and I'm following you, it's because you messy. I'm just following for tea. But shout out to Stacy. Stacy's probably watching right now. I know she unfollowed you, on social media, but she's probably watching right now. So hey, Stacy.
Hey, Stacy. And we know she's watching. And her bestie watching too. Hey, y'all.
Who I love.
Oh, yeah.
I hope he comes back. I actually do want Stacy to come back next season. I know we're joking, calling her a liar and everything like that. But I do want her to come back next season. I want to see the real Stacy.
Are we joking?
We're being playful.
Okay, we're being playful. Yes.
We're being playful. But I do want to see her come back. And I want her best friend to give us her and her best friend to tell us who she really is.
Yeah. Okay.
Agreed.
So at the top of part 2, so we're now in part 2. Okay, wait, before we move to part 2, because if we don't talk about her now, we will never talk about it because she's in part 1 and that's it. Jazzy. Lailah, what did you think about Jazzy bringing her wedding invitation to the reunion?
What do you think? What happened to Jazzy? I thought it was nice. It was a pretty invitation, but I don't understand what happened to Jazzy. Because we saw her in the beginning of the season, but where did she go? What happened?
It's
great. Yeah. Can you explain what happened to her?
I wish I could. I was so fascinated by her story. She was an actual wag. The guy would come on the show. I was so excited for it. Because you know what I actually watched and I binged it. So when I was getting my hair done, I binged the whole season. It was that Sherelle the Wags show on Netflix. And so it was it was so good. And so I was enjoying having that energy, And then the messy storyline. Is she a side chick? Is she not? All of that. I wanted more of her, and I still do, to be honest with you guys. And she's so beautiful. Oh,
yeah, my God.
She is.
But can you imagine getting all gussied up for 2 minutes on that reunion stage?
And then Ashley telling you, before you go, shading you, but at the same time helping you get more screen time. Let me ask you about this. Yeah, so I do want to see more of Jazzy, and I want to know, because at first, I remember doing this report, because there's supposed to be a Kansas City Chiefs WAG show coming out. I don't know if it's still going to come out, but I was like, okay, maybe she's going to be on that. But then now she was like, her husband plays for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened to Jazzy.
And my thing is the fact that Jazzy came to this reunion months and months later and still was not able to give us a solid answer when it comes to that whole side chick situation. And just the whole being so thirsty to Andy Cohen. I'll be your side chick, Andy. And you brought the invitation. We know why you brought the invitation. You want Bravo to bring you back so that they can film your wedding. Girl.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. I feel like she had hope with the Kansas City Chiefs WAG show. I feel like she had hope with that. But with him not even being with Kansas City, they're not going do it. And I feel like, and I was wondering, maybe it's because she's not the most forthcoming. Like Carlos King kind of pulled it out of her that her fiance, I'm not sure if she married him yet, but her fiance got his ex pregnant while they were dating. He had to like pull and pull and pull, and she finally admitted it. So I was like, okay, maybe it's because she's so pageant girl, she doesn't want to say the truth on Bravo, and it takes a lot to get the truth out of her. Maybe that's why they don't want her on the show.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
When you compare like a Jazzy to a Jacqueline or even Kiana, how did you feel about their season this year? Grace?
Again, I would like to take another opportunity to apologize for wishing for Jazzy to have a flute. Y'all know how much I wrote for her when she was against Mia. I thought she was so interesting and so spicy. But as soon as like she came up and she was like, making up with Mia, but just really, really kind of being a bootlicker of hers, she went like, it was a completely different person. I feel like I didn't recognize her this season, and I'm disappointed in that. I like Jazzy. I want to see more of her. I want to see more of the delusion. I want to see the wedding. Like the budget is there. And that's something that's always been lacking on RHOP. So just imagine her wedding, her events. If she were hosting like a trip or an event, it wouldn't be like an Ashley hosted thing, with the chicken bingo, the drag. Like it would be like high level, elegant things. So I want that. I do. We need it.
What about Jacqueline? Because Jacqueline makes an appearance in part 2. To me, it felt like Jacqueline. Oh, Jacqueline was here? Lailah, what did you think of Jacqueline?
I really thought she was pregnant by PP when she was like, no, somebody else. I was like, what? What? Girl, I'm proud of you for moving on, but who are you pregnant by? I want to know who she's pregnant by.
It's either Ashley or Mia. What? I was shocked too, Lailah. That really did shock me. I was like, oh, it's not PP?
Yeah.
I'm mad that we're calling PP. What's his name, Patrick?
I think so. I just remember the PP. Yeah.
That's their fault.
Did we talk about that kiss with her and Ashley? How did you guys feel about that?
I'm already a little nauseous, madam.
It was so creepy, wasn't it? Like Ashley, like there's something so weird, and I find Ashley to be such a forced person, like she's always forcing us to look at like her boobs, her like everything is just so like there's not like an effortless like sexiness or anything to her. It's like, come look at all of this, come kiss me. Like it's just chill, breathe,
Relax.
Yeah.
I do think she's aggressive. And she said that regarding her Ashton personality, it's aggressive. So I do think with women, she is the aggressive one.
Oh, she's the top.
Yeah. She's the top.
Yeah.
She's the top.
I can't with Ashley. Jazelle this season. So in part 2 of the reunion, Jazelle's little moment where they talk about her being an empty nester. She's excited now. At first she was concerned with her girls leaving the house, but she's like, you know what? It took me a little bit, but I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. So she also gives an update on her twins. And then they talk about Jamal and his new wife. I don't know about you guys, but when they talked about the new wife during the season, Jazelle made a comment that she's not, the new wife is not in the same lane as her. But during the reunion, they talked about how this was sort of like a throw to Wicked, the movie. And then they also talk about how the kids, her daughters, still do not have a relationship with this new wife. I need to know your thoughts, Grace, on that particular segment of the reunion when they talk about Jamal and his new wife.
You know what? I felt... this season, Jazelle has been so nice, right? She's been playing nice. But the reunion, I felt like since part 1 is where she really lets her real side show, which is that she's a mean girl. So we saw that in the way she came after Stacy, part 1. And now in part 2, here she goes after her children's stepmother. So I wondered, like, is there beef? Did the stepmom treat the children poorly? Like, what's really going on there? But it felt very inappropriate to say the kids were horrified by the wedding photos. He was alphabet. Like that type of stuff is a bit much. I thought she learned her lesson about talking about like the men in her orbit's significant others. Y'all remember when she was with Sherman and she said the same thing, that the ex-wife was like a horsey face or something. Like, she needs to chillax with that type of thing. It's not cool.
She's a hater. Lailah?
Yeah.
I forgot she did that. She did call her horsey. I forgot about that. I will say this, with the whole term of stepmom, to me, Jamal's new wife, she gives, my ex-husband's new wife, she doesn't give stepmom to me when she was saying she doesn't have a relationship with her kids. And then I wonder if the kids are over 18, they're away at college, is she their stepmom? Like, it would be nice to have a relationship with her, but at the same time, is she a stepmom? I wouldn't put her in the category of stepmom.
And the
But
way
as far as their
and the way that Jazelle painted it, it's almost as if she was putting the blame on Jamal Bryant's new wife. Shouldn't that be Jamal Bryant fostering any sort of relationship? But I will say this, I don't know if I've said this to you guys before. I feel like if this relationship with Jamal Bryant and his wife is for show. I think it's just for, he needs a first lady and that kind of thing. That's the vibe that is giving to me.
I told y'all before, Jamal's ex-girlfriend or what have you, we had like a 2-hour conversation. She told me about this lady, Kire, Miss Kire, baby. She told me about her before he proposed to her. She was like, he is putting her in position to be his next wife. And, she turned out to be correct. But yeah, I feel like he was trying to, being a pastor, he does have to have a wife. Like a single pastor is like, like just a man on the loose. Like he does have to have a wife. And I like her. Miss Carrie, I don't like the fashions, but I felt like they matched. Like as far as it being tacky or whatever, I felt like they you know what I mean? Like they're a match for each other. Yeah.
Grace report. Any thoughts on my speculation that I don't believe that this is a real relationship? Small.
I agree with you. It's probably some kind of an arrangement because we all know that he is Pastor Holy Whore. He's always going to be laying it low, spreading it wide. And so she's just a person that's okay with that for the sake of whatever else she's going to gain from it, whether it's exposure, whether it's business, whether it's her own mega church or something like that. Maybe she wants a dynasty situation like the Jakes family. I'm not saying that Pastor Jakes does that, but like his wife is involved, his kids are involved. Maybe she wants something like that. Does Pastor Jamal or Jamal have a relationship with his kids? Like, what's the real going on there? Do they hold resentment based on how he treated Jazelle? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I felt like Jazelle was putting blame on her versus putting the blame on Jamal. I feel like Jamal should be responsible for that.
I agree, but Jazelle hates women. Yeah.
Go ahead, Lailah.
Big sister Jazelle. And I think you onto something, Grace. She does. She does. She sees women as competition instead of like friends or sisters.
In regards to Ashley, so Ashley and Dr. Wendy get into it in this particular segment because Ashley says that Josh Harlow, Josh, was offended by some of the comments that Dr. Wendy made. Lailah, what did you think in regards to what Ashley and Dr. Wendy got into during the reunion?
Listen, this is why I love Wendy this episode, because Wendy was like, sit in it. All she said was he was a lateral move. She called him Jack Harlow. She didn't really say anything negative about him, but she brought it back to what Ashley brought to the table with all these rumors about Eddie cheating on Wendy and all of that. So basically, it's like, this is what you get. Like, I'm keeping it light. Like, Wendy didn't really go in on him. You know what I mean? And Ashley had the nerve to say, his friends are upset that you call him a lateral move. So I was so glad that Wendy was like, sit in it. Sit in it. Because I don't think Wendy said anything terrible.
Hold on. They're saying that there's an echo. Let me just see something, y'all. Hold on. You see. Testing, 1, 2, 3. I think it might be you, Grace. Hold on.
Me?
Maybe. Testing, 1, 2, 3. I think there's a little bit of an echo.
Okay, I will unplug my mic and replug it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Back to what we were saying in regards to this. I don't know. Look, here's the thing in regards to Ashley and Wendy's situation. I don't understand why Josh Harlow, would be offended by this whole lateral move comment. I felt like he was being a little too sensitive. I don't know if I even believe Ashley in regards to, his friends were all calling him and she dogged him out, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if I believe that, but I'm so glad that Dr. Wendy clocked her. And I don't the fact that Ashley wanted to compare her Johnny-come-lately boyfriend to Dr. Wendy and her husband, I feel like that is a reach.
Yes. The reach of all reaches. She didn't, and then she was like trying with the whole cancer thing. He survived cancer, but it wasn't that serious. And I'm glad that Wendy stood on what she was saying. And I thought it was weird that Ashley's like, well, what about Eddie? Does he still practice law? What does that have to do with anything? Whether he's a lawyer, whether he's a businessman, at the end of the day, he's a successful man taking care of his family. And if he doesn't practice law, it doesn't mean, anything against him. There are many lawyers who stop lawyering and, pivot. Anybody in any career field can pivot. So it wasn't exactly the gotcha. And something I didn't like, though, for Wendy, like acting like Michael was a step up from this. Michael is a degenerate, right? Like, he's so icky. We saw him on camera. So why are we acting like getting with like a normal young man is a step down from a man who was old enough to be your father, who was creepy? Like, I don't get it. A colonizer. Doesn't he have all that land in Somalia too? Like, what are we talking about?
I was just about to say that Michael is colonizing Somalia. So yes, this young man seems to be like a normal young man. To me, he is actually a step up. As far as we know, as far as morals and values, he's probably a step up from Michael, who is down here. He's a colonizer. Yeah, I totally agree.
I think he might be too good for Ashley, in my opinion.
Might be.
And here's the thing. Dr. Wendy pointed out that Ashley was the one to bring those rumors about her husband on the show. I think a lot of people thought it was Jazelle, but they pointed out like it wasn't Jazelle. It was actually Ashley. Are we surprised? Because Ashley has been messy for season after season. But the fact that she decided to go from defending this Johnny-come-lately boyfriend, someone that she already just said in this particular segment that they're not as hot and heavy right now, but you decided to come after someone that is a husband and the father of children. No, I felt like it's not the same. The fact that you wanted to go that far and possibly whatever friendship you have with Dr. Wendy over some new boyfriend, some new boy toy.
But Ashley's a savage. I hate to keep bringing up, her background of poverty or whatever, but I feel like it has something to do with it. Like, once you live under a bridge, like, I feel like she is a savage. Like, she looks like, a nice, pretty girl, things like that. But underneath that, I feel like Ashley is a savage and she'll do anything to anybody.
Lailah, you are the savage. Why you came out with this thing when you live under a bridge?
I'm just saying.
I was not ready for that.
It changes you. It has to change you. It has to change you. I feel like that's why she was with Michael. Like, if you think about it, a girl like Ashley in any other situation, like, you could see her with, Josh Harlow or whatever. But to see her with Michael, it's like, okay, she is in survival mode. Like, that's why she is, marrying the type of man she's marrying.
Everyone in the chat, they're all me. Like, not in the bridge.
I'm saying, it happened. I'm not making it up.
You didn't lie. So in the next segment, we have Stacy and Kiana and what they brought throughout the season. Because you ladies were the first to kind of really point out to me the problems with Greg. I didn't really necessarily see in the beginning, but again, I'm not a woman. And I've never been in this type of relationship before. So I want to know your reaction. Apparently, they're back together because the season finale. Subsequently, they seem to have broken up. She moved out of the house. As you also know, they were building a house together. We find out in the segment that they went ring shopping and she bought a condo separate from him. Grace, what's your perspective now after hearing that update from Kiana?
I hate to see such a beautiful, smart, successful, talented woman just jump through hoops, go through all these complications for like a guy who's kind of just there. And not only just there, but is negative towards her, like in public, on camera and stuff. I don't understand what she sees in him. I don't think a relationship is supposed to be this complicated, especially at this age. I think she's wasting time and needs to move on. And I was so pissed when I heard she did that, moving out, waiting for the this, but the that. I'll tell you, and I'll give you an example from my own life again. One of my close friends, he does this to women too, like the whole like waste their time, in my opinion, right? He doesn't know he's doing it, but he does it. Because there was one girl that he was ready to marry within like 4 to 6 months, he calls me up. He's one of my best friends. He calls me up and he says, oh, like, I think I want to do it. Like, I want to go ring shopping, like, blah, blah, like, I'm ready. And that didn't work out, right? And so he's been in this relationship with this girl for like 5, going on 6 years, on and off. And then she moved out hoping to get a ring, right? Because she kept on doing the ultimatums, never following through. And he said, you know, she keeps doing this, but she's never actually going to walk away. So I'm not budging. She moves out, but she leaves some of, like, she's still hoping for this. And so I see Kiana in her as well, where it's like, girl, you're wasting your time. He's not going to do it. If he wanted to, he would. And I've seen him want to in months. So don't do it, Kiana. You're beautiful. You're successful. Don't do it. Move on. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Lailah?
I don't love Greg, like, at all. I think it would be a mistake, even if she does end up marrying Greg, like getting a ring, moving back in and marrying him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a good match because I feel like, you know how they mentioned that she was dating a drug dealer? And I heard either the drug dealer got shot or red rum or something. I heard something happened to her ex.
Oh, Lord.
And that's why Mia brought it up. So I feel like she's kind of like overcorrecting. Like, okay, I was with a drug dealer. Now I'm going to get with a social worker and live like the happy housewife life. So I think, number one, that's the problem with the overcorrection. Like, you know, he's not the man for you. And then the second thing, if he doesn't want to be on TV, don't make him be on TV. Like, I feel like sometimes, and this is even from my own experience, when you pressure someone to do something and then they finally do it, but they do it half-heartedly, you're still disappointed in them, you know, because they really don't want to do it. And I feel like it's a lesson. If you don't want to do something, like if you don't want to be on reality TV, don't do it. Just stand on business. Don't do it. If you lose your relationship because that person wants to be on reality TV, then just take it as a loss. Like, just accept that. Because now we have where he doesn't want to be on reality TV and he does a bad job. Even when they show him backstage and he was like, oh, it's 4:30. She told me to be here at 1:30. You know what I mean? You can tell he doesn't want to be there. He's doing a bad job at reality TV because it's half-hearted. He doesn't want to be on TV. So just let him go.
But
and check your losses.
But is it even worth it at this particular point? Because everyone has said not only has Greg been a dud this season, but Kiana has been a dud. So go ahead.
Men, in my opinion, and maybe it's just, you know, romantic partners in general, but they tend to, sometimes they can drain your energy. So his dud could be making her a dud because she's interacting with a dud. And I don't want to say he's a dud in real life, but when it comes to TV, he's a dud. And so that's what she has to deal with. And that's her choice. But I think she should rethink her choices.
Ooh. Man. Okay.
Yeah. And don't have kids with him. Has she mentioned if she wants kids?
Yes.
I talked about that.
She said she wants
kids. Marriage and kids. Yeah. I think
that's the worst thing.
And he wants her barefoot and pregnant, like Chris Samuels type of a vibe. And she's not that type of girl either. So it's just the wrong relationship. And I just do not see anything. Like, I don't see any warmth from him that's making her stay. I don't think, you know, and I'm not saying he's unattractive. I'm just saying, like, I think she's leagues above him look-wise too. So it's not like she's like, oh, he's so hot, I'll never get anyone this hot again. I genuinely do not see anything.
I think it's the safety. Like, if your ex-boyfriend had something to happen to him safety-wise, either he was shot or red-rummed, it's kind of like, okay, I'm with this guy now and he gives me safety. I think that's what she sees in him, like safety. Like, this is a straight-laced, vanilla type guy. He gives me safety. But I just don't think it's a good match.
And probably, like, I don't know her history, but maybe that's what she's had in regards to the drug dealer. Maybe that's what she's always had over the years. And she's like, that's never worked out for me. I'm in a different era in my life. And like you said, Lailah, overcorrecting in regards to this relationship. I mean, you like it, I love it. I just don't want to see it next season. Just saying.
Let Greg take a break. He don't want to be on TV. That's fine. We don't want to
be a friend of. You can be a
friend. Show us the spa. I want to see more of that spa.
Here's the thing, Stacy. So Stacy, also a newbie this season, they talk about this, and Andy so nonchalantly says former boyfriend. So at the live show we did in DC, I kept on pressing her about her relationship status with TJ, and she didn't correct me when I would constantly allude that they weren't together anymore. I didn't know, but I kept on alluding, oh, you guys aren't together anymore, so we got to find you a man, blah, blah, blah. So Andy nonchalantly says former boyfriend, and everyone on the cast is like, what? Okay, we find out that her and TJ are no longer together, and then of course she reacts to the backlash that they have received from being on the show. Grace, what did you think of this particular segment in regards to Stacy talking about the backlash she's received and the comments that people have made about her relationship with TJ, who she says she's still best friends with at the time of this? I'm sure they're not best friends anymore.
I think she's so fake. I had a hard time even caring. I never cared for the relationship with TJ because it was very obviously fake from the beginning. And so for her to act so surprised that people think that he's not into her or that he might have been more interested in the trailer, I'm really over her like oblivious act at this point. I think she's a smart woman. I think she's a calculated woman, and the jig is up. Just admit, roll with the punches, accept the jokes, and move on. Don't play the victim. You knew this was fake. You knew it would look fake. But I do agree that, the way he treated her on camera, like, oh, now you want to talk to me, all this weird attitude stuff, that was really inappropriate. So I'm glad that she called that out. But I hope that TJ really spills the tea on what she's really like, because I have a feeling she's a nightmare. She's a monster. And now that he's over it and he's talking with Eddie, I want to see what he really had to say about her.
I do feel as if that Eddie calling him was staged, because Dr. Wendy in part 2 says that Eddie and TJ talk. So I wouldn't be shocked if that portion of the reunion was staged, meaning like, call me during the reunion. Mm-hmm. Lailah, what was your reaction to this segment where Stacy is talking about, the public's reaction to her relationship?
It also gave stage to me, especially Greg. Going back to Greg, like, he's not a good actor. So when they're doing the scene, he's like, yeah, let's call TJ. You know what I mean? Like, it's giving bad acting. Like, yeah. And so I do feel like it was staged that moment calling TJ. But I think then whatever happened. Like, when they call him, whatever he said. And I do think he was honest that Stacy was paying him to be her love interest. And I said this before regarding him being a Christian. I think that's why he was adamant about being clear that he wasn't sleeping with a married woman. You know what I mean? Because they kept saying that during the season. And I feel like that was him trying to be like, okay, I'm going to do this, but I want it to be clear that I'm not sleeping with a married woman. So I do believe Stacy was paying him. I do believe Stacy is fake and phony. I know too many women like Stacy. And that's why I was saying I finally understood why she gravitated to Mia, because they're both liars. Yeah, water sinks this level.
Damn.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. In regards to Stacy and them not having sex, Andy does ask her about, did you guys do everything else beyond sex? And she alludes that something else happened, but they never had sex with each other. Lailah, you're shaking your head. What do you believe? You don't believe they ever did anything?
I don't feel like adults play and then stop. Like... Maybe teenagers, I just don't think adults do this and then stop right here.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
Grace, do you think that they have intimate moments?
I don't think so. And I think it's more so because she's not his type. I don't think he was interested in what was going on with Stacy and stuff. I don't know. He gives me, what do they call it? Kempire, like Gold Star or something like that. What do they call it? He gives me Gold Star. Yeah, I that's the vibe I get from him.
Did y'all see him on Sister? Did y'all see? Because there was this conversation about his age, because I feel like he keeps telling the audience he's 41, but they were like, no, he appeared on Sister. He was older than the Tia and Tamara, and he was so fine. I just have to say, he was so fine in the episode. Yeah, he was so fine. Mm-hmm. But he gave at least 7 to 10 years older than Tia and Tamara, and they're like 45. So
I guess he wants to play younger.
I guess so.
Okay.
A black 40 does not look like that. No, he definitely looks much older than 41. He looks much older.
No,
so bad. Guys, for those that are just joining us, we brought the dream team back together. Lailah Lynn and Grace Reporter here to talk about the Real Housewives of Potomac. All of their information will be available in the description. As always, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share the video. And don't forget to subscribe. Do all the things. And don't forget to subscribe to the Kempire podcast. Ladies, before we move on to the other parts of the reading, what do you guys have coming up that people should be on the lookout for? Lailah?
I have content on my channel. I do celebrity news and nostalgia, which I've told people that's my toxic trait. If you ask my husband, I like to talk about old stuff. So I have more nostalgia coming up on my channel. And I do have my coffee line, but as of March 1st, my coffee is being discontinued. So if you plan to purchase my coffee, do it by March 1st. Otherwise, it is gone.
Support Black business. Just saying.
Yes.
March 1st is Saturday, y'all. Just not to put,
Saying.
the lighter under you guys, but yes. Grace, what's coming up for you? What have you been working on?
So I still got the morning report every single weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about the day's hottest topics. It's so much fun. And there are new shows that we're going to be recapping. So the first one just started airing yesterday. Alec Baldwin and his wife, Hilaria Baldwin, their new show on TLC. Yeah. They got a reality. I was so curious. Does she keep up like the whole accent thing? Does she speak in Spanish? And you guys are familiar with her grift, I hope. So I'm recapping that. And Gypsy Rose got renewed for a second season of her show on Lifetime. So that's something that I'm watching as well and recapping on YouTube.
Wow. Okay. All of their information will be available in the description, guys. So be sure to support Black businesses, just saying. And we all have Black businesses here. You can also support just by liking today's video. It's easy and it's free. Speaking of support, thank you so much, Mr. Mellon and Magic, for the super chat. Mr. Mellon, it says, Curran needs 9 months to a year in jail. Then she needs 20 mandatory AA meetings and 50 hours of community service. Quit the wig and throw Jazzy in jail too. Why is Jazzy got to go in jail? Jazzy didn't do anything. Thank you so much, Kinetic, for being a member for 20 months. I love you all at my kitchen table. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And thank you so much for another super sticker. We appreciate that as well. Delon, thank you so much for the super chat. Delon says, Wendy is in charge of the girls. Time for the audience to realize it. Grace and Lailah look amazing. Congrats on your show, Kempire. Thank you, Delon. We appreciate you as well. Delon to our Nashville show. Live Well LA, thank you so much for the super chat. Live Well says, next time you tell the story, Grace, don't say he's your best friend. He sounds like a toxic, immature.
No. He's nice. He was very honest and upfront about not wanting marriage. I think women need to take personal responsibility. If a man tells you he doesn't want marriage, you're not going to force him to marry you. Find another guy. There are billions of guys in the world.
Unfortunately. Ariana, thank you so much for the super chat. Ariana says, Stacy and TJ don't follow each other. They used to. So I guess she decided to unfollow all the gays this week. Just what? Oh, okay. Focus, y'all. All right. Let's move on. Lailah, let's move on.
Don't look at me. You said it. Don't say let's move on, Lailah. It was you. I'm sitting here on mute because I feel like my mic has feedback. It's you, Kempire.
Look, I love this more than everybody else. So then we move into the segment because we've already sort of talked about this, but I still want to hear what you guys have to say when they talk about Vivian. We talked a little bit about this, but even Kiana, when Wendy exposes the fact that Stacy said F that B, and Kiana's like, Wendy, you speak like that? And still, Stacy never really confirms that's exactly what she said. But I thought it was a funny moment because all of them kind of, I guess, like the audience viewed Stacy in one way, but we're finding out that Stacy is another way. Grace report?
Yeah, and I felt like that was her being shady. Like, this is how she really is. Like, I'm pretending to be surprised, And then Stacy does say that Wendy pulled it out of her. So to me, I took that as a confirmation. I'm really excited and curious to see how Stacy is going to unfold. Is she going to lean in now that she's kind of been exposed as a low-key villain, or is she going to keep up the innocent act moving forward? I'm intrigued.
Lailah?
I feel like I know too many women like Stacy pretend to be all prim and proper and bougie, but behind the scenes, if you really know them, it's not that at all. Yeah, it's not that at all. And even when it comes down to their clothing, like once I saw Stacy in that flowery, like that floral dress, looking like, what is that perfume? Daisy.
Marc Jacobs?
So yes, I had a friend named Stacy that acts just like Stacy on the show, and she loved that Marc Jacobs perfume, Daisy, because Daisy is like a nickname for Stacy. And as soon as I saw that dress, I was like, okay, she came here to be phony. She came here to be fake. Like she wants to give this innocent image, but that's not who she is. And that's why I said I want her friend to come back and just show us the real Stacy so we can look, and talk. I want to see the real Stacy.
She says that the group borderline hazed her. Ashley said that, girl, you auditioned it as well. Grace, what did you think in regards to when she says that the women borderline hazed her?
That's a good question. I think that, you know what? I think she got it pretty easy this season because Karen was distracted by her DUI. She needed soldiers, right? Jazelle was trying to be nice because she realized that the audience was not feeling the mean girl thing. So she only really kind of like joked about like the whole like Stacy's too huggy for me. I didn't see anything major. I'm trying to rack my mind. And even Ashley, when she said that Stacy dished it, all Stacy did was joke about her putting her bunions on the countertop. That's not dishing anything. I feel like, and this is in line with what Lailah was saying earlier about how Ashley will like blow things up, right? Like Wendy was so mean to my man because she said I could do better. Like, and then now the countertop thing. Meanwhile, she does really terrible things like the whole Osu thing, like the Eddie cheating thing, like the lies about Chris and bringing in Sesame Street thing. Like, it's crazy how she could do all these terrible things, but if you put out a light joke, that's terrible. It's got to stop.
Yeah.
I think Ashley gives desperate. You know what I mean? Like she's desperate for a storyline. Like she's always at the end of the couch. And so she is trying so hard to like get in there, spill tea, get in there and get into the show because like her storyline with Michael and everything is just not giving. Like people don't cling to Ashley. Even with the TikToks and everything. People don't cling to exactly. Oh God. People don't love it. They're like, what am I watching?
These two left feet, I can't. In regards to the women's fashion, and they have a segment during part 2 of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion where they talk about the fashion and Wendy pointing out, I'm the mood board for these women. I mean, she is definitely the best dressed and most fashionable on this cast, despite that one outfit that Andy ended up texting her about. I don't know what that she was wearing. It was the shade of blue that Lailah was wearing, but it was, I don't know what.
Don't bring me into this.
All right. They look down. You look beautiful now. Well, when I tapped it, you could tell. I guess I'm not that gay. I didn't even pay attention to the outfit that she was wearing.
Yeah. I saw a lot online on that, and I've seen that outfit. It is a Black-owned designer. I don't know. I don't want to call the wrong name. It was either... So I purchased from this designer. I don't want to call the wrong name, but it was a Black-owned designer, and I think she was trying to promote that Black-owned designer. It's just that look, everybody's trying to be different. Everybody's trying to be unique, and sometimes it comes off weird. Like unique sometimes comes off weird.
And Wendy's allowed because Wendy, for the most part, is definitely the most fashionable.
Fumi. They put it in the comments. Okay. Yeah, Fumi the label. Thank you.
There was the other comment that I wanted to see here. Oh, damn, I lost it. Oh, wait. Someone said I was coming for Lailah. April says he's coming for Lailah. I was not. I just looked down. I was like, oh, it's just that shade of blue.
Yeah.
It's not the outfit.
Amazon. All day Amazon.
Yes, okay. All right.
I love that. You look in Wendy's defense, that silhouette was popular this past summer. It's just with a very light fabric that's almost transparent. But when you wear it with like sweater fabric, like the whole thing makes you look bigger already. But when you use like a sweater fabric that's thick, a mess, recipe for disaster, unfortunately. But You know what? Like, it's nice to try sometimes. She had like the concept there. I'll give to her.
Yeah.
I
do.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, speaking of sheer, because I get what you're saying, because there is another designer, Fee Noel, has done that shape, but in sheer fabric. So if you do like that shape, sheer would be better. And there are a lot of tops. Even the fast fashion is doing that shape in sheer fabric now.
I wish Dr. Wendy would be like, okay, you guys didn't like it, but I wanted to celebrate this popular African designer.
Yeah.
Look, hey. But again, I feel like Dr. Wendy in this reunion, though, looks gorgeous. Who's your favorites in regards to the reunion, Grace?
You know what? I love her look, like her face card, her hair, everything. But I'm sorry, but her and Kiana's boobs are so painful looking to me in this. They're constricted a lot. So I shockingly have to put Jazelle as my best dress. And it's funny because her dress looks like a white version of my prom dress. Although my prom dress didn't have it was covered here, but I had the cutout with the chains. I'll find a photo for you guys, but it's red and the chain was gold. Yeah, it was gorgeous. So I'll have to give it to her, shockingly.
Yeah. Post your prom dress.
Right? I want to see.
I'm sorry.
Lailah,
yes.
who's your favorite?
It's so crazy because I was about to say Jazelle too, and I never pick Jazelle. But I don't like the boobs up to here. I don't like when I like it. I like a more relaxed, natural look. And I
Mm,
feel like that's what Jazelle was given. Even though I didn't love her hair as far as the dress, I feel like Jazelle was given the most like relaxed, beautiful, not trying too hard.
yeah. And this is the
Mhm.
best as Giselle has looked in a very long time at a reunion. I still like Dr. Wendy. I just love her hair, makeup, outfit. I loved Stacy's dress and makeup.
Mhm.
Hair, hmm, it was okay. It was okay. But Dr. Wendy was definitely my favorite. All right, back to this. Guys, again, if you're just joining us, don't forget to like the video. It's easy and it's free. We're here with the Dream Team. We're here with Lailah Lynn and Grace Report talking about the latest episode, part 2 of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. We are also celebrating Black content creators here on the channel. In honor of Black History Month, Black History Month is winding down. We only have about 3 or 4 more days to Black History Month, but it's okay. It's okay. You can still support Black businesses even after February.
Yes.
Just saying. All right. Moving on in regards to Jacqueline. So Jacqueline joins the group, and this is when they start talking about Mia. And so this is when we found out about PP not being the father of Jacqueline's baby.
Yeah.
I was sort of like, I'd like you, Layla. I was like, what?
Yes, clutching my pearls. Who is the daddy, girl?
And she
Tell
says
us.
that he's never been on Bravo, and they asked if he was at the finale party or the rap party or something like that, and she couldn't really answer it, like she didn't remember if he was there or not.
She don't
Um,
wanna yeah.
Jacqueline, do you want to see Jacqueline come back, Layla?
I will say there is something endearing about Jacqueline. If Mia
Oh,
comes back, I'll put it that way. If Mia comes back, then yes, Jacqueline can come back. Jacqueline doesn't make her own splash with her own storyline, but if Mia comes back, Jacqueline gives like the reality to Mia's lies. So yeah, I would like to see her back. And plus, I just think she's beautiful. A lot of times she wears like her real hair.
mhm.
And I just feel like it's something endearing about Jacqueline.
Yeah. I didn't love Jacqueline this season. I liked her, and when people didn't like her, I liked her
You
the
liked her
previous
then?
season. I felt like this season it was giving, Mia's lackey and just up Mia's, literally almost with these two. Grace, what did you think about Jacqueline and what she brought at this reunion and the season?
You know what I'll tell you? I actually would like to see Jacqueline back on one condition.
Huh?
With a storyline, perhaps she could take after her friend Mia with a paternity storyline. If Gordon is the father potentially of this child, how about that? I think that would be interesting because I thought in the past season that she was flirting hardcore with Gordon, right? So to me,
Mm.
it was like, maybe there's something there. Couldn't that be like the craziest like plot twist? That would be interesting to me. Otherwise, no, just because we gave her a chance and she just didn't really deliver. I do actually have to ask you guys, was she a little bit of a step above friend of, but below flute holder? Because we got a lot of her this season.
It felt that way. It definitely felt that
Right.
way. Taylor, did you feel like that?
Yeah, but I'll never forgive when who was going in on her? I want to say it was Jet. It was somebody going in on her when they were on like some type of vacation. Might have been Wendy's birthday, and then she had to literally physically go and sit beside Mia to get some strength.
Yes.
Mm.
I'll never forgive her for that. That was so weak to me. Like I was like, girl, you should be on the show if you can't take it. If you gotta go literally sit beside your friend in order to be able to take this, I'll never forgive her for that.
Let's talk about Mia be lying. Okay.
If we
So
have to.
yeah, we have to. This is the last part of the reunion, and I'm so grateful that you ladies had time this morning to be with us. We have to talk about Mia and her segment. Andy takes a couple of shots, shady shots at Mia in regards to her relationship with Ink. And Andy says, I thought that your tagline says that Ink is permanent. So what's going on with you and Ink? And she basically says that her and Ink are no longer together because of the show. And Wendy defends Ink. She's like, I was surprised by this. So I don't know that of them hanging out. But she says that Ink is a really great guy, but a lot of people don't realize the amount of backlash that they deal with being on the show. But Jazelle says that she doesn't believe that Mia and Ink have actually broken up. Grace, what did you think of in regards to Mia's segment and what Jazelle had to say? Because it gets really heated between Jazelle and Mia towards the end.
I do have to say that I'm happy that they showed us that Jazelle did stand up for her daughters, because that was something that frustrated me, is how, like, she never really claps back or drags properly. Like, she'll go after people for no reason and bringing mess, but never actually when it matters. So it was nice to see that she did stand up for the kids, like, to Mia's face. And I think that she's telling the truth, most likely, about the whole situation. Although I did want to ask you guys, did you watch the Mia and Gordon live yesterday? Like,
And no,
yeah,
tell us
because
about it. Look,
I wish I knew, because I thought they
uh,
were going to explain. Are they together now? Because it seems like that's what people are saying. I feel like you never really know with Mia, to be honest.
she said that she told Andy Cohen that they were in the final days of their divorce. I know it's
Right.
Mia.
You're right. You're right.
Mhm.
Until we see it in legal documents, I don't believe anything Mia says. But I do want to hear more. I didn't watch their live, but if you want to recap it, Grace, I'm all ears.
I didn't either. Y'all, this is like 4 a.m. my time zone. So I missed out
I
on it.
don't think they did it, because if they did it, I think that would have shown up on my timeline this morning. I didn't see any. I mean, look, I'm scrolling right now. I don't see a clip, nothing
I
from
saw a screenshot on the Reddit. The Reddit girlies
really.
were on
Not
it.
the Reddit.
Yeah.
Reddit streets. I love that for us.
But I didn't like read the thread or anything like that. But I saw the screenshot. So they did it. I get the vibe that like Gordon does not want to be officially divorced. He wants to be married, at least on paper. So I don't know, to be honest with you guys. I get throuple vibes even. I don't think Ink
Yo,
really. Yeah, like Ink is happy with the arrangement too. He might have women on the side too. Like it just feels like chill vibes all the way around.
Layla, do you
Yeah.
think that Ink and Mia have actually broken up? When
No, I
Dr.
think
Wendy says that she believes that all of them are in on it.
I think Ink and Gordon, because Gordon's an older man who may have I think it's called impotency issues. I think they share Mia. I think they have an agreement because Gordon seems like the type of person he makes these agreements with Mia. I think he has an agreement with Ink. He doesn't want to film with Ink per se, but I do think he shares Mia with Ink. So when Mia says Ink is permanent, I think Ink is one of those people in her life to where he will always be in her life, kind of like Jacqueline. So I think they share Mia. I don't think they're broken up. And when Jazelle was saying
Oh,
Mia lives in Atlanta, I hated to
Yeah.
hear that her kids, to me, what I heard is that her kids are in homeschool because she takes her kids between Atlanta and Maryland. Atlanta and DMV, like she just shuffles her kids around. That's what I heard. And I hate to hear that her kids are being affected, but I did believe what Giselle was saying, that Mia lives in Atlanta.
Remember, she wanted to fly to Atlanta after their trip, after Panama City. She wanted to fly straight to Atlanta, and everyone's like, "Don't you want to go? You were so worried about your kids. The kids are probably in Atlanta. Who knows?"
Yes.
Oh, good
Oh,
catch.
And I feel like you can be messy, you can have a poly relationship, open relationship, whatever, but I just feel like you have to have boundaries when it comes to the kids. That's
yeah.
my only thing.
That came up a lot during her segment in regards to how she handled this and brought it to the world. And it looks like the cast believes that Mia decided that she was going to produce the storyline, very much like Brand from Real Housewives of New York. She's going to constantly be self-producing her storyline. And the fact that she got a lot of backlash from the world and from the cast, she's trying to change that up right now. But the cast is not falling for it.
But
And
don't
Mia is
they
tearful and upset.
But they do that themselves. Like, I get, like, the difference being that she's playing with her children's lives, but Jazelle is the queen of manufacturing storylines, especially storylines that hurt other people, right? And same with Ashley. She tried to do that too. So, like, their outrage is a little confusing to me based on who they are. I feel like only Wendy can really be outraged by that.
Mm. They mentioned in regards to the whole IVF and paternity test, because that's been a lot for everyone watching. Like, you're bringing this on the show and your son is eventually going to see this. She's like, they're not on social media. Eventually, your son is going to see this. But then they get into a conversation about IVF and that they couldn't do a pregnancy test. And Dr. Wendy, like, I'm not an idiot. She didn't say it like that, but she's like, I'm not an idiot. And even Ashley chimed in and she's like, when you do blood work, that will tell you if you're pregnant. So we caught her in another lie. Because y'all are ladies. What did you guys think about that whole conversation in regards to the whole IVF journey and the paternity test segment that they were talking about? Layla?
if I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like that's why she don't have her first son. Like we keep talking about her son, her son, her son. I feel like sometimes we forget she has a 16-year-old son that suddenly disappeared from television when she brought these paternity issues to Real Housewives of Potomac. And I feel like it has to do with maybe his father or his, family took him off the show because of Mia. And if I can be honest, I feel like that's embarrassing as a mother. Come on the show with 3 kids, and then all of a sudden now you just got 2 kids, and nobody knows where your oldest son is, and you acting a fool on reality TV. It's kind of like, okay, you lost your son, and I feel like that's something I feel like she's going to have to repair her relationship with her middle son, yes, but with her older son. Her doing what she's doing to her middle son, I feel like is affecting her oldest son. And I feel like that's a real issue and it's not enough. Like you can't pay me enough to sacrifice the relationship with my children. Like you just can't. There's not enough money in the world because those are my flesh and blood. And I feel like Mia has done too much. And I hope her relationship with all of her children is okay, but especially with her oldest son, because I feel like that's a real issue that doesn't get talked about because his other family is protecting him.
Do you think, though, this stems from how she grew up? Remember her parents?
Yeah, but at the same time, I do. I feel like she's experienced a lot of trauma. That's what I was saying about Ashley. Like poverty will do certain things to you, but at the same time, I've seen other people experience poverty and not do things like this.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to judge. Like I watch and I judge, but I just don't know how to judge.
Grace, what did you think about this particular segment with Mia?
I was kind of frustrated because it felt like she was trying to blur the lines on purpose. They were trying to tell her, listen, like with IVF, they do the blood test. So you know that you were not pregnant when you did IVF, right? And that Gordon's the father because he was the sperm that they used for it. But then she's like, yeah, but I could have been pregnant by like 4 days because there's this little window. And Stacy had to tell her, please, for the sake of your child, put this rumor to bed. And I'm like, the fact that she does not have the sense to be embarrassed and to realize, again, that's why I feel like there's something missing. There's a chip missing in her where maybe she's not malicious about it. It's just that there's an empathy issue or something else where she thinks that this is normal. It's no big deal. And it's, again, scary.
Do you think that the fame has gone to her head? You remember Carlos King had said that she is the face of Potomac. She's the future of Potomac. And we even have Wendy, the bone collector Acefo, Dr. Wendy, bone collector Acefo, say that, oh, yeah, she had a conversation. She was dropping all kinds of tea in regards to this cast. She says that she's the Beyonce of this group. Lailah?
Lord, I love Michelle. When they dropped that part, I was like, why does Michelle get so much hate? She was a part of the biggest selling girl group of all time. But yeah, I do think it has gone to Mia's head. And we've talked about this before regards to Nene Leakes, Jacqueline Hernandez, how we love to see a star rise. And some people might look at Mia as a star, or I think she looks at herself as a star. But people are just as interested in seeing a star fall. And I feel like Mia's star is falling, like her sacrificing her kids for storylines. It's like she's falling. And I feel like that's what we're watching at this point.
Yeah.
Grace? Yeah. I agree. I think that's what happened with both her and Jacqueline, because I know that Carlos and, we too, the public loved Jacqueline as well. And he told her, like, she needs to have the flute. She needs to do this. She needs to do that. So she comes back and she does way too much and then kills all of the goodwill. So I feel like that's what happened. You can't really believe your own hype, and act that way. And so, yeah, they saw the consequences of it, unfortunately.
Shame, shame, shame. So then at the end of this reunion, we have Jazelle. We get to see some unseen footage in regards to Jazelle getting in an argument with Mia at Ashley's Drag King event. And they talk about the things that Mia was saying. Remember, word on the street, according to the Jasmine brand, is the fact that Mia actually referred to Giselle's daughters as whores, allegedly. They never confirmed that at the reunion. I kind of wish that they did. But I definitely think more was said. So then Jazelle, in probably like one of the first times ever, reads the hell out of Mia when it comes to her being a mother. Lailah, what was your reaction to Jazelle talking? I think Jazelle was basically talking for the audience because a lot of people have been saying this about Mia and her storyline this season.
Yeah, I feel like Jazelle was right, and it was about time she said it to Mia. I feel like Jazelle has been trying to hold back. Like, she's trying not to be the mean girl because she's given mean girl too many seasons, so she's trying to
Mhm.
hold back. But when it comes to her daughters, like, she has to say something. And I always felt, as soon as I heard that Mia called Giselle's daughters a whore, I always felt like Mia is jealous of Giselle's daughters
Mm,
because Giselle is the type of woman, and I've shared that before, even though I don't like Giselle, I've shared before, she reminds me of my own mother to where
mm,
there's not a man that's going to come in my life and be before my kids. You know what
mm,
I mean? And so people give Giselle a hard time. Oh, you don't never have a man on the show, da 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 da. And some people get it. Some people don't. Why she's not going to have a man until her girls are out the house. You know what I mean? And so I think Mia, gets it. And she's jealous because I feel like her mother put a man before her. When it
mm,
comes to addiction, all of that type of stuff, I feel like her mother put a man before her. So she sees Giselle's daughters and she sees that one good thing about Giselle is, her motherhood. She's not going to put a man before her kids. And so her calling Giselle's daughters whores, as soon as I'm assuming they're 18. So as soon as they turn 18, she brought their names up on the show and called them whores out of
mm.
jealousy. So I feel like Giselle was right to read her. She
No.
was absolutely right.
Grace, what did you think about what Giselle had to say about Mia and her being a mother?
I was happy that she finally showed up and read. This is what 9 reunions in, and this is the first time that the face of the show actually delivers a good read, a proper read, doesn't just freeze up. So, and I'm happy that she didn't let up because, again, there goes Mia with the waterworks trying to get sympathy, but everything Giselle said was true, honestly. What she did to her own child was just unforgivable.
Can I defend Mia for a second?
Mhm. Go ahead.
Let me defend you for a second because as someone that's not a parent, I've said this before countless times here on the channel. I always cringe when people question people's parenting because at home, I think all people would have all kinds of opinions on how someone is raising a child. So I was uncomfortable, and I get it. Mia decided to play this as her storyline and do these cringy things in front of her children on national television. So I understand where people are coming from, but at the same time, she is a mom. And do I think that she loves her kids? I do. Do I think that she did the right thing by bringing them on and playing out this whatever this is that we're watching? But I still felt for her in regards to you're making her out to be the worst mom in the world, and I'm sure for her that's triggering because I'm sure she probably felt like she had the worst parenting and mother in the world. There I go twerking on a fence. Okay.
I think she needed the wake up call though, because to me, if there was a genuine worry, but the fact that she knew for pretty much certain 99% because of the IVF and she still did this,
Yeah.
that's bad. And then, trying to stand 10 toes down and still say, oh, well, like there's a little window here. And she probably didn't even sleep with ink or, have that actual worry just to
Yeah.
keep the thing going instead of shutting it down like Stacy begged her to. I don't know. Like that's pretty messed up.
Look, yeah, look, whoa, 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 Mia. So Mia gets really upset, and it looks like she does. Part of my tea that I talked about is the fact that Mia leaves the reunion early. So it looks like Mia might be leaving the reunion early. So she gets up emotional after Giselle says, "You are a terrible mother." I don't know if she said those exact words, but basically that's what she was saying. You are a terrible mother. You decided to do this and bring this on national television. And I get it. I get where people are coming from that you don't do that. But again, as someone that doesn't have children and everyone parents differently, again, I'm not saying this is the best in parenting. I just try not to judge someone's parenting. And I didn't like seeing that because I was like, oh,
Mhm.
because I you could say the tears are fake and things. I don't believe those particular tears were fake. I do believe that she was just like, I don't need to feel it worse than I already do from social media. Can you imagine what her comment section looks like?
Well, I don't imagine she reads it. I don't imagine she reads her comment section. And I do believe there's a thing as tough love. And
Yeah.
so I do think it's okay to judge someone's parenting if they are using their kids for a storyline or to come up on reality TV. I think it's okay to give them that reality check. And that's, as a parent, if I was doing something to where I had my kids on YouTube and I've seen other mothers use their kids on YouTube for very weird things that I would never do, but some parents do it for money. Google AdSense,
Mm,
makes people do weird things.
yeah.
So I do think it's okay to judge.
Yeah. Jay says that really is it because it's Jazelle Kempire? Dang. No, I literally have said, I think Jazelle is speaking for the audience and what a lot of people have been saying. It's not because of Jazelle. And if you might be new here, but I've said when we've talked about parenting on the channel, when we've talked about parenting when it comes to this situation, it's as someone that's never been a parent, I find it hard to judge someone on their parenting because some of y'all, if you had cameras in your house, people would say some things about the way that you parent. So I try to give her grace. Mia is not my favorite, neither is Jazelle. I understand where Jazelle is coming from as a parent. She could talk. I'm not going to because I was like, But I have shared my thoughts on regards to should Mia have brought this as a storyline to the show.
You know what? In that vein, Kempire, I do have to ask you, okay? So, do you remember?
You want to... Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, it was worth a shot. Do you remember that season? Rest his soul, Giselle's father, he was pissed at the storyline that Jazelle was peddling, to her kids nonetheless. And Wendy did criticize Giselle's parenting pretty much. Or who was it? I don't remember. It was Monique, somebody. But she was faking a storyline of dating Pastor Jamal and whatnot. And that was like a whole thing. How did you feel, or maybe you too, Lailah, because, you do have kids. How do you feel about that storyline involving kids in this whole thing with the dad knowing that you're not actually dating for a check, right? And for TV?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I never even thought about that. Again, I'm not judging people's parenting, but that's a very valid point, Grace. I'm going to ask the parent over here, Lailah.
Well, I feel like it's okay to judge people's parenting, Kempire.
Okay.
I feel like it's okay. And I feel like her dad had a good point. I feel like her girls are old enough. I think she could sit them down and be like, this is a storyline. Her girls were probably 16, 17 at the time. So I feel like they were old enough to understand. But if they were younger, I would have judged her for that as well.
Yeah.
I would have judged her for that because I do think it was just a storyline.
I don't think there's a problem with judging someone's parenting, but I'm also giving grace in regards to it because, again, I'm not a parent.
Does everyone automatically get grace, or is grace something you earn?
Oh, well, that part. Well, I don't know.
Good question.
That's a good question. I have no answer for it.
I just feel like Mia hasn't earned grace. From what we've seen on the show, with the way she uses her kids, I don't think she's earned grace. But I guess it's a matter of personal opinion. You know what I mean? We all have our personal opinions.
Okay, but Jillian says you need to earn grace. Okay. CC Mama, thank you so much for switching. CC Mama says this live is still on Mia's. Oh, the live is still on Mia's page. Please watch Camp so we can discuss. You know what?
Yeah.
Y'all are a mess. Okay, all right, Jay. Jay's been here for 5 years. I'm not new campers. And you should know when I talk about parenting, I try to give a little grace because everyone's parenting is different. Again, I'm not excusing Mia's behavior, but what I'm saying is that I felt for her in that moment, I wouldn't want someone questioning my parenting or reading me down about my parenting that way. So I felt for me. Sensitive. Go ahead, Lailah. What you said?
As a parent, you're not perfect. So sometimes somebody reading you can help you. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. And that's why we have you ladies here to give us that perspective. I love it. Yeah. You guys gave me a whole new perspective on Greg, too. I was like, damn.
And I told y'all how I feel about Gregs. I have a house full of Gregs. I love my Greg. But sometimes Gregs can try to be flexible and try to support you, but they don't really believe in what you're doing. And sometimes it's better, just as a person, sometimes it's better to just not even, if it's against what you want to do, just stand on business and not do the things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
So the end of this reunion, we're backstage and we see Eddie and Greg call TJ. So TJ's in his car. TJ's, he had to evacuate because of the fire, LA fires. And he basically said he calls this show a fake A show. And then they don't show us anything. They just sort of all this edit, he drops all this tea and you see Greg and Eddie react. Then Eddie texts Wendy to tell her, and she's like, oh my God. And everyone's like, what's wrong? What's going on? Okay. Andy has said that he feels like this is their best reunion. If anything, it's near season 5 reunion. I want to know, ladies, Grace, we'll start with you. Your reaction. Do you feel, based off what you've watched in part 1 and part 2, that this is their best reunions?
I would say part 1 would be their second best reunion. So far, nothing has stopped Bindergate for me at all. So I would put Bindergate, then part 1 of season 9. And then in terms of best dress, I would say that this was probably their best dressed at least. So I would give them that.
Okay. Lailah?
Yeah, I do agree, especially with the best dress. And it made me, it kind of like harken back to the other color schemes that they've given the ladies. Like that season, they gave them yellow. It kind of made me feel like, why in the world did they give them yellow? Seeing them in white, black, red, like they kill it when it comes to like those basic colors. But yeah, and I loved on the preview when they showed Eddie and Eddie is looking like, oh my God. Like, yes, I do feel like it's one of the best reunions, and I can't wait to see part 3. Yes,
I mean, I can't wait to see if the tea that I got was right.
I think it is.
Look, I mean, it'll be interesting to see in part 3 if Mia really does end up leaving the reunion. I think she does. I also think that Mia leaving in the tears is partly her not having an answer for what they're accusing her of, and this is her easy way out. Let me get out of here.
100%. And she has no friends, right? She just fell out with Stacy, Jazzy. She's fallen out with everybody else already, and Wendy's not feeling her either. So it was a good idea to leave. It was smart. Do you think that means that she's not going to come next season, or she just needed a break from the reunion? And like, do you also think that it was kind of like embarrassing for her that nobody bothered to like even like feign any care about it, any interest? Like, come back, stay, nothing.
I'm sure that was an extra blow to her ego.
Yeah.
That she really felt alone out there.
Right.
But if she hadn't done what she did to Stacy and Jazzy, Stacy definitely would have ran after her. But
Agreed.
like she ruined her friendships with them.
Oh, thank you, Miss Brooklyn. Miss Brooklyn says you can see from some of the promos when they were talking about TJ that she is not there. I meant to go back to watch that. So it looks like Mia does end up leaving the reunion. All right, so it's going to be interesting based off of the season overall, ladies. Now we're at the end. We've come together periodically for our recaps. And guys, if you missed it, we had 2 seasons that we recapped Real Housewives. But we've always kind of gathered to talk pop culture sometimes and then to talk about Real Housewives of Potomac or Atlanta. Based off what we've seen this season, what was your overall reaction to the season? We'll start with Lailah.
My reaction to, I enjoyed the season. And living not too far from them. Sometimes when I see the restaurants, I'm like, I need to go there. Like Vivian's Boutique. I'm like, you know what? I need to go there. I like the fashions. I like the season. I like the trip for the season. So overall, I enjoy it. But I have to say, I'm not, even though, I am a blogger and things like that, I just look at the ladies. They look so pretty. I'm like, yes, I like this. So I'm not the hardest to please. I do have to say that. But I I enjoyed it.
Okay, great.
Same here. I think that this is going to, when we look back as the show continues, we're going to look back at this as a pivotal season in transitioning the show from where it was, which was a really, really dark place, with these like solid allegiances, to where it is now, which is, people are more open to making new connections and stuff. We're ushering in new people and everything. So we're in a different direction, and I'm liking the direction so far. I think some people need to tighten it up. But for the most part, like I'm looking forward to seeing how all these different stories continue to play out next season.
Who needs to tighten it up?
I would like to see Mia tighten it up now that she got the wake-up call about the children thing. I don't want to see her necessarily go, because she is a very open book and she does have an interesting like lifestyle and story to share. Ashley, I don't know what else she can give us, to be honest with you. I think she's someone that might need to be demoted to friend of. Jazelle, I would like to see a real storyline come out of her, because like I'm kind of bored of like the kid thing, the empty nester thing. And that's about it for now, I think. Karen, maybe, don't drink and drive moving forward if she's not in jail next season. I want to see what she's got going on. Yeah.
Lailah, I don't know if you said this. Do you think Karen should come back next season?
If she's not in jail.
Damn.
She's not in jail. But I do think she needs a reality check. Either the reality check could be jail, or it could be a season sitting out from the show. Either one of those two, I think, would give her a reality check. But if she's not in jail, sure, she can come. Oh, should they make Karen a friend of? Would that give her?
No, I don't think they would do that, because when you're a friend of, you really don't have to give a lot. And that's another easy way out for her.
I feel like it would give her a reality check, though. Like if she was Giselle's friend or Wendy's, or we can't say Wendy's friend, but
What
if
about
she was
Sharice's friend?
oh,
If they give Sharice a glute again, they make her Sharice's friend.
I said this last night when I was covering Karen's DUIs and her sentencing and things like that. And I said, I think the only thing that's going to really, really hold Karen accountable, it's not even jail time. It's going to definitely be giving her a season off. If we look back at that body cam footage, the whole grand dame and all, like this ego, this classism that we saw from her, it's all coming from being a part of this show. I think she definitely should not be a part of the show. Focus on actually taking care of yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
Question. Sorry. Kempire, you as a HR from the HR world, and you, Lailah, as someone who really loves law and whatnot, do you think that that could open Bravo up to retribution, right? Because we have had other housewives have DUIs and have kind of like belligerent videos leaked, most notably Luann. And I didn't watch the Shannon of it all, so I don't know how that turned out. But like, I don't think they had similar punishments. So if they were to start that with Karen, would that open up like, the possibility of a lawsuit? Or is it different because,
Yeah, they would definitely be because she went to rehab. That sort of saves her in regards to them just letting her go. But they could also frame it as, we're going to give you time off so that you can focus on healing and things like that. But I talked about that as well yesterday in regards to the possibility of like, well, that might be a tight situation for Bravo. But at the same time, they don't have to renew her contract.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. I've always wanted to ask.
Lailah, your thoughts?
I mean, I think that's a good point because I do think Shannon's accident was worse because Shannon hit a house. If I'm not mistaken, Shannon hit a house.
Yeah, she took to a house and then kept going.
And she had her dog in there too, like a living being with her.
And you know how people feel about dogs. So yeah, I do think that's a good point. It could open them up to a case of retribution if Karen was to sue. I don't think Karen would sue though. I think Karen's main thing is being on the show, being the grand dame on the show. Even though she said she's coming back as Karen Huger, I don't necessarily believe her. So I think you're right. I think it could open up Bravo. If they were to quote unquote punish her like that, it could open them up to a lawsuit. Yeah.
No. We shall see. We shall see. But stay tuned. First of all, thank you, Lailah and Grace, for being here. Again, please remind people what's coming up for you and what they should be on the lookout for. We'll start with Lailah.
More celebrity news and nostalgia. Today, I'm talking about Megan Good and Jonathan Majors. I still feel like he's a narcissist. I feel like he's love bombing her family now. So I have a video coming up about that and just some other celebrity news and nostalgia.
Okay, great report.
That is so exciting. I'm tuning in like always. I still have the morning report happening every single weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about the day's hottest topics and recaps of Alec Baldwin's new show, The Baldwins, with Hilaria Cucumber Baldwin. And we've got season 2 of Gypsy Rose's show coming out in March. So that's going to be recapped as well.
Sidebar, in regards to what we were just talking about when it comes to Karen, I wonder, I mean, when we talk about Shannon and her DUI, we also have to remember that, first of all, again, we don't know if Karen's going to receive jail time and how long that jail time will be. But also, in regards to, this is her 4th DUI.
Yeah.
Karen needs help.
Yeah. The last time we were live, someone gave us that tea in the comments because we were saying, I think Sharice had said it and Robin had said it. And I remember somebody gave us the tea in the comments. Yes, this is her 4th DUI. And that's why I say, yes, she needs to go to jail. She needs a reality check. But I also think it's something too that people saying, even if he wasn't driving, I do think blue eyes might have been present. Karen in that wet hair, I said it before, it gave me after shower. Like I was with this person and then I took a shower. I'm delusional. I showered with my wig on. I do feel like it was something there. I feel like it was a man involved.
Really? I mean, they're going to talk about it in part 3. Grace, do you think it's involved?
Yeah. I get it and I like the theory, but my thing is she was at his house and then they did the do or something and then she showered and she was already drunk. So the time was already had and she's heading home. Why how would the guy get home if he's driving her to her place? Does he pull up in the driveway? Wouldn't like the Black Bill Gates be looking out the window, maybe drinking his evening tea? That's the thing. Like, how would he get home? Right? Like, that's the one thing I don't get.
When we talk about agreements, and I mentioned this with Gordon, I think sometimes older men who are not as sexually active do make agreements with their younger wives. And I do think Ray has an agreement with Blue Eyes. Same thing with Gordon. I think it's okay. I think it's open relationships, basically.
Mind you, she gets into this accident, and the first person she calls is poor Ray out of his bed. I don't know what time this was, but it was clearly nighttime. Poor Ray out of his bed, and you can tell he seems a little. When you get a little older, you become a little bit more fragile. He seems by all of this, and Karen is inebriated. I felt so bad for Ray.
I did too. Ray was like, leave me alone. Like, can I go back to sleep? Maybe she had a few beers, what have you, but can I just take her home?
Yeah.
He tried. He really tried.
Can you guys see him divorcing her after all of the fourth DUI or no?
I don't see it. Lailah?
I don't think he's ever going to divorce Karen. I think he's just, and I know it sounds bad to say, I just think he's old and like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like he's made his decisions.
And thank you so much for the super chat. Shan says, hey y'all, Karen needs to come back so that she can get all the smoke. But here's the thing. I know fans feel that way, but do we want her to get all the smoke or do we want her to actually get better?
Both.
Come on.
I think people are thinking that the smoke will kind of light a fire under her for her to get better.
You think that's what they want? That's what Shan means? You think that's what she really means? I don't know. I hope so. Bianca, thank you so much. Congrats on a successful live show in New York City. Shout out to everyone that came to the live show. Shout out to Lailah Lynn and Grace Report for being back here on the channel. Make sure that you follow them and support them. Lailah, you said the coffee is only available until March 1st, right?
Yes, the price is going up, and I have a certain price point I don't want to go above. So after March 1st, we're just going to cut it.
Yeah. And then I guess you're not going to mention any of the new stuff that you're going to be working on because I already, you told us that you were doing starting with the coffee. So I know some.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I have to actually make it. So I haven't made that stuff yet. But as far as new stuff, it's more like nostalgia videos on my channel.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Again, thank you, Lailah. Thank you, Grace, for being here. It's always a good key with you both talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac. Guys, make sure, again, that you support both our wonderful women that are here. And also don't forget to support Black content and Black creators and Black businesses. It is still Black History Month, but I think it's more than important. If anything, it's just be Black History Year because you see what they're trying to do with DEI throughout this country. So let's continue to support. And you can easily support by purchasing items, but you can also support by showing up, watching content, sharing content, telling a friend to tell a friend. This is how they used to do it back in the day. This is how we can continue to do that for all of us. All right. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our King's Guards. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to our subscribers. And thank you to everyone watching in the bushes, including you, Stacy. Have a great day. Bye, y'all.
Bye, Stacy.
Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to KempireRadio.com.